Wow, so what you said is heartbreaking. I can't imagine what it takes to kind of have to carry that kind of weight every single day. So what are some solutions? What can nurses, caregivers do to relieve some of that pressure?
That's a great question. And really the answer comes down to the stuff they didn't teach you in nursing school. Life skills. And I really think that there are 3 essential life skills that people need to weave into their temperament or anchor better in their temperament. And the first one would be to have the ability to adapt. And I know that sounds counterintuitive because nurses are in and out, episodic, working with strangers. And
Seems like that's already happening, right?
You would think that. But really, nurses are quite structured, and it has its place. It's anchored in safety, it's anchored in quality, and it's anchored in efficiency. You know, when we have to do patient teaching, it's very regimented, and we really want to get that point across so the patient will be safe. So really, having the adaptability piece of your nature or trying to anchor that piece is so very vital. Realizing that, you know, when you begin your day, the only thing you can count on is that it's not going to work out the way you thought it was at the beginning of the shift. Being prepared, being forewarned, right? You know, so you know when someone has a huddle and says, "Well, this is how the day is going to go," you know, you have a sense in your energy that, well, that's a loose outline, and we'll go from there.
Right.
And not be disappointed. And I think that's what's happening. There's a perpetual onslaught of disappointment for nurses, disappointment in how leadership is working, disappointment in restructuring, disappointment in right-sizing where the industry is going, not necessarily always being included, being on the end of criticism or having to justify what you're doing.
Right.
So it really, if you're not open to that, from a very sense of self, a very secure sense of self, not having that adaptability can really make you feel as though you are just being kicked all over the field.
Right, and getting very much disconnected from the purpose and the mission that you had in your heart.
That's right.
When you started.
What can happen from that is that you choose to isolate, so that you move from your compassionate heart. Your compassionate nature no longer becomes the center of your energy, and you move into your head and you become what I call the academic nurse. That gives wonderful care, by the book, very safe, high quality, and comes in, does her work, gives her meds, does whatever she needs to do for patient teaching, education, interacts with her colleagues, punches out and goes home, don't talk to me. Yeah. And they have shut down that compassionate nature because it's too painful to live there. Yeah. And they have retreated to the perceived comfort of isolation in their head. And when that happens, you really are in the full throes of compassion fatigue at that point. It's very difficult to get that type of caregiver who has gone that far into compassion fatigue back.